Um,
Okay, good morning, beautiful people. We're just setting up right here.
I can see the chat, so I guess once people come in, they can say hi.
All right, if you all can hear us, just shoot us a little message over in the live chat and let us know that we're clear in sound and camera equipment. If you can see us and hear us, just shoot us a little message. Okay, we're just going to assume that you can hear us and you'll let us know if you can't. Good morning, I'm here with the fabulous Chrysilla Lewies.
Hey.
I'm so excited. We just kind of randomly felt a lot of connection to each other today and to Dolores. And as you know, today's her birthday. Happy birthday, Dolores Cannon. We wanted to come on here to honor her and all the fabulous work that she has put on this planet, all the incredible mastery that she has shared in all of her authentic writings and the different ways that she's given us permission to honor our bodies and our minds and our inquiry about science and spirit and everything that lies beyond what we currently can measure by science. So I'm so excited to be here with my lovely facilitator and friend and colleague, Chrysilla Lewies, who's an exceptional channel and quantum healer herself. You can find her by Googling or anywhere else. And she's quantumhealers. What is it, .net?
.com.
Oh, sorry. So I'm so excited to have you here today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Very spontaneous, and it's going to be lovely to channel Dolores today. We have prepared some questions for her, but I would like to invite those in the chat to also put your questions in there, and I'll browse through them and try and catch them as you ask away. So yeah, thank you very much. And I know it's going to be lovely to hear from her. It's always very special when you do channel her. And what a nice surprise and what a nice time during this week of celebration with Quantum Realms as well. So do go check out quantumhealers.com's YouTube channel, because there's going to be jam-packed videos and content all week. So yes.
All right. We can begin whenever you want. Chrysilla's got a bunch of questions that she would like to ask Dolores, and then we're going to turn it over to you guys. We'll be here for about 45 minutes. So whenever she says go ahead and put your questions in the chat.
Okay. So will this be a clear conduit channeling today, Pamela?
Geez, I haven't even thought about it. What do you guys want? Do you want me in trance or do you want me to awake? She doesn't mind either way.
Okay. I think it's nice that you're awake.
I feel very clear with her always. I don't always feel that necessity to trance with her.
Brilliant. Okay. So we're going to ask Dolores to come into Pamela's energy, and I know that she's already beautifully connected because we've already spoken to her. The first question I'd like to ask Dolores today is, how do we manifest right now in this time of uncertainty?
Welcome. Thank you for having me. Do you ever wonder about the potential of what is outside of your current language and the limitations of that? When there are so many different patterns of thought that honor so many beliefs, and then all those beliefs are being directed in a fashion that looks like a laser light show. It wasn't always this way. When I first began my work, there was more of a collective belief that was like a melting pot, and at least if the beliefs were different, they simmered down into the soup when you threw in the vegetables. And everything blended together. Now, you collectively feel proud and empowered by your differences and your beliefs. No, this isn't good. This is bad. This isn't to say change it, fix it, do something different. It's obvious that we're in a time where a difference is necessary. And I'd like for you to consider the limitations that your language presents when you attribute the word uncertainty with fear, when you connect the word uncertainty with control. You begin to feel powerless. And then the pot is a big gumbo soup of powerlessness. Yummy, right? I would like to encourage you to find a place that's in between this or that, completely combined to where you no longer can identify what you want to manifest or experience. I'm not fond of that word manifest, but let's just say experience. Because the universe will respond accordingly. And it won't just respond to what each unique individual says, but statistically, this is a numbers game. And half of you believe that you feel completely uncertain and you have it attributed and connected that word uncertain with powerless. And half of you believe that you and only you will make your choices above and beyond anything. It is all about you and not about the collective. And you will decide individually. That can feel powerful, but does it also come from a place of fear? Only you know. So could I say unselfish attraction, selfish attraction? I could, but I'm not here to make you feel good or bad about this. I'm just here to tell you to be aware of yourself and others, and to make choices, understanding that it is impossible for your thoughts, your beliefs, your speech, your actions to not affect others. It is impossible. And you have every right to think, feel, speak, and act differently from that which causes you to feel powerless. And there is a spot right in between all of this. There's a little sweet spot for what you call manifesting. And that sweet spot is to lose all value systems attached to your language patterns. I would like for you to be more aware of the power, the vibration that your words carry, and then utilize it.
There was so much insight in that beautiful answer. Dolores, thank you for being here. It is so, so lovely to talk to you. You said a lot about difference of opinion. There was different ways you spoke about that. And there is a lot of difference of opinion happening right now. And a lot of people do feel powerless. So the message is, how do we feel more empowered during this time? How can we feel more empowered and step into a more positive frame of mind?
Can I reframe this for you a bit? Going back to the concept that ideas can very quickly percolate, and then where those ideas go are externalized with your thoughts, eventually into your speech, eventually into your actions, eventually into your, what you call, manifested lives. But this is science. What you send is simply returned. It's not karma in the sense of what you think. In one of my first communications with this being, I she asked me about karma and what I thought about it. And I said to you, it doesn't exist.
Mm.
And then the caveat, not in the way that you believe. And that has continued to expand. That idea has continued to expand. You're growing and also limiting your ideas of how you believe that karma affects you. So many today say, this is happening. It's all over the news. You can't, unless you live under a rock, you can't turn it off. Where, you're told to, and this would never happen in my time, to do all of your work in front of a screen. It was impossible in my time to do this kind of work. I knew immediately that someday people would begin to connect in this way and to be able to do this powerful work in an unlimited way. But you've also limited yourselves by confining this work. Your language has defined, confined, limited, constricted it, restricted it. And your language has done that to your personal and professional lives. So, in order to answer your question, I'm going to ask you to view life. This is business, personal, whether you're doing my work or some other type of work, it applies everywhere. I would like for you to step into the eyes and the mind of a child. Before all of this stuff that you're calling pandemic occurred, you would sing, laugh, exercise, dance, play. Always. There was time for work, there was time for play, there was a balance. And it was important. And when a child is asked, how do they feel about fear and powerlessness? Unless something incredibly instinctive and primal is being presented to them for reasons of safety, they may not know what on earth you're talking about. You go out, and the child's playing on the swing set, and you say, aren't you afraid the news is on? What do you think the child's going to say?
Yeah, and?
I'm not asking you to cover your faces, to climb under a rock and remain there. It's obvious that you wish to interpret knowledge and to have this accessibility, unlike you haven't ever had this before. That's powerful. But what is knowledge? How do you discern it? What is true? Because what you're seeing out there may be a huge melting pot of true and untrue, frightening and powerful. It's a very intense vibrational output and input. Okay? And I just ask you to stand in a place of awareness that is more neutral, more curious. I ask you to not stop asking questions. I'm going to ask you also to not attempt to define what you believe will happen in the future. I ask you not to surround your potential with what is or isn't happening in the governments right now, what is or isn't happening with control of the virus, what is or isn't happening in the political realms. This isn't about whether or not you stick a needle in your arm or slap a piece of cloth over your face. You can do it or you cannot. And I'm not here to tell you that this is the way, that is the way. The mask is the way. Spreading your germs is the way. What I'm here to tell you is that there is a way that encompasses peacefully all thought, all beliefs. So return to an innocent state. Return to a neutral state. That's all. You wouldn't have considered being this intensely frightened and angry and absolutely chaotic 3 years ago, you wouldn't have found a reason to want to allow what's happening with a virus or in your politics or in mandates that aren't even here yet.
Mm.
And you're all cowering and making your decisions based upon what hasn't happened. So go to the mind of a child and ask the child, does she want this? This channel has done the same, and her children said, I don't know. I would really have to consider and research. That's a peaceful thought process. The child's mind did not automatically jump to, no, I don't want that. That's dangerous. That's this, that's that. Make a well-informed, balanced decision for your bodies. Your bodies. You see? And don't tell anyone else what to do with theirs. Don't take those choices away from them. And for goodness sake, stop judging those who don't or do. They have their reasons.
It's difficult to stay neutral and having the mindset of a child, because where we are in our life with all our different beliefs, it's either where some of us are having our glass half empty and some of us have our glass half full. How does it affect us to live more in a glass half full environment and life, with being more optimistic about things rather than something's out to get us and things always go wrong? So how do we deal with that? And what questions do we ask ourselves to rather manifest the things we do want instead of what we don't? Because it feels like our mindset being more positive or being more negative, it does affect us. It does affect our life. And being neutral is often a very hard place to find. Being respectful, definitely, for sure. When I were to speak to you with having a different opinion, to me, yes, I can be neutral, I can listen, I can understand. But when it comes to you as an individual, sometimes our minds being more positive and negative actually do affect us vibrationally. So how do we work with that?
Have you ever stood at the top of a mountain and pushed down a tiny little snowball?
Let's just start somewhere and it will
You're at a
roll and get bigger and bigger. And
yes, you're at a precipice of potential. And there is a potential for exponential growth right now in humanity, together, total. But it can't be beginning with a thought process that excludes everyone. And it can't be with a thought process where everyone is included in the same snowball of fear. You'll freeze. You see, language and the energy, the vibration of your language is key. I want you to, considering that the glass half full, glass half empty, what if there is no glass? Break the glass. Yeah. I spent the majority of my time speaking to you, and it was always about words. You didn't often find that my words carried any mushy gushy stuff, and you didn't often find that my words were judgmental or harsh or negative either. I attempted to have my life be an example of this balance, the choosing of the words, without the emotions taking over, without the feeling state contributing to the concepts that were taught, which came from my speech. I'm not asking you to eliminate your emotions. I'm asking you to wisely discern, to selectively utilize them and to ask yourself some simple questions. Number one, do I really want to say that? Determine what you want to state, not from your feeling state, but from your mind, from your state of thought. Will this thought help or harm? Does this thought allow for inquiry? Does it allow and provide opportunity for those who receive it to question it, to research it, to possibly apply, but to at least research enough to make an informed decision in their lives? These are some questions that you may ask yourself, but there's no glass, there's no positive, there's no negative right away. It doesn't start that way. It only ends that way once you have restricted things by putting water in a glass. Can you put an ocean in a glass on your table and serve it up to me? Possibly not.
I like that. Break the glass. Yeah. We put ourselves in containers and we restrict ourselves in that way. In our Quantum Realms week, celebration week this week, we discussed timelines. Do you feel we travel to different timelines in our everyday life?
Well, that possibly is an open-ended question. There are but a few on your planet who are discovering that there is a type of travel that involves the mind and the vibrations of the mind only, and that is outside of time. Consider where you're going in the virtual reality realms. When you see your children, and well, adult children as well, playing on these game systems. That's one example of being in time and outside of time simultaneously. And the moment you slip the device over your face, body is in a certain realm, the mind is in another realm. So this would perhaps be a more clear way to exemplify the potential of where you're going and what you're calling time travel. But can you eliminate the word time, and can we just say travel? When you use the word time, you imply a certain limitation, you see.
I'm not sure if Dolores likes scientific questions, or was involved with science. Did Dolores participate in scientific research for quantum hypnosis at all?
I was my own researcher, and there were many people who were very interested in my journals and my information. And I wasn't exactly ready to allow everyone to see what I was doing and to consider it research, but some did. Some considered it very well researched.
I know there may be some research that you may or may not have been involved in. She may have been.
Mm-hmm. I think I began the process of allowing my work to be considered research. It's easily considered. Many people would consider it this.
In her research, which is my favorite book, in your research, Dolores, you wrote a book called The 3 Waves of Volunteers. I'm wondering, is there another wave that's coming in? Because it definitely feels like there is.
We've covered this a little today. You can call it the middle wave or the middle wavers. You can call it whatever you will. But what's happening now is that people are tired of choosing. They're tired of saying, I'm this, I'm that, I'm going towards this. It's confusing and limiting. The middle way opens to all ways, is inclusive, not exclusive. Say, in my times, when people began the first wave of entry into Earth, they complete that. They feel whole in understanding why they're here. And then what? It can't be that we're always doing the same thing, coming back to be first wave, second wave, and third wave. But what do we do now? Add a fourth, add a fifth, add a sixth. That's just more to keep up with. We won't be doing that anymore. It's ultimately very chaotic. Mm-hmm. So now, you can call it what you will, but most who are alive today and are coming in to bodies at this time are considering that they are all, they are one and everything. They are one within all. So you can call it the middle wave if you will. But like I said, we're breaking the confines.
Yeah, the way I see it when I look at it, it's almost as if clusters are coming in, clusters and waves, and there will always be more waves. When you look at the ocean, there's always another wave coming in, right? So that's kind of how I see it visually, but beautifully explained. Thank you. Some people, you touched a bit on karma, and some people believe in karma, some people don't. What's your belief in karma, Dolores? And do you feel we come in with a clean slate? I think you said.
Karma is a very misunderstood application and tool for universal expansion, and within that, personal creative growth. It's different for every single person, but here's the one way that it is the same. It is scientific. Where you put your frequency is important, and the intensity of that frequency will return to you with the same intensity. In physics, you may call this the universe, you may call this the law of reflection. The universe reflecting back what you put out. And it's very refractory. If you stand in front of a mirror and shine a flashlight at the mirror, the light may come in various directions depending upon the intensity of the flashlight and the direction of the flashlight, and so many different factors. Your thoughts are the same, and just because science can't measure it yet doesn't make it so. Science didn't know that the Earth was round at the time of discovery. Everyone assumed it was flat, and if you thought it was round, you were a nutcase. And you were considered a conspiracy theorist, correct? So don't be so quick to eliminate the potential of measuring your thought as a vibration and determining how it will reflect back to you in your life. Don't be so quick to say that isn't science. The truth is, you don't know. You only know what the scientific method can measure and meter for you. Mm-hmm. Much like in the days of the flat earth theory, and now you discover it's round. Now people are going back to saying, well, there's a potential that it's flat. Or, well, maybe there's a potential that it isn't a shape at all. Maybe there's a potential that it's an elliptoid. Maybe. And then you measure, and then you inquire, and then you research, correct?
Yeah.
So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because karma is always changing. You are powerful creators. Now, don't let that go to your heads. But you are powerful creators. It's a little out of hand right now, okay? It's a little out of hand. So let's dial it back a notch, please. You don't want to have the same ending every time. It's like assuming that if you are playing a role in the movie, that the ending is always going to be the same. Maybe you want to recreate the entire scene by scene. You want to recreate the entire movie. Who knows what you want to do this time? But karma is not what you think it is, and that has always been the case. People have attempted to apply the laws of karma to religion. They eliminate it when they attempt to incorporate it and measure it with science. They just completely desecrate it even and say that it doesn't exist. So here have been the two rules that I've observed. If it doesn't apply to your religion or your science, you dismiss it. But your science is perpetually changing and rewriting itself, much like history, every decade. Something new is discovered that either will partially or sometimes completely eliminate the power of the former theory that was known by scientific method, or in religious cases, by what was prophesied or written. And why? Why do we have to perpetually look? We are consistently looking for one way that is the way which makes all other ways wrong. And then by the time you find something you believe, you change, vibration change, karma applies, the situation changes, the belief changes, and then one by one, the collective eventually changes, and then what was considered a conspiracy theory is now science, or religion, or history, or karma. It's all karma. Karma, the only thing that karma is energy in motion. That is my most broad definition that I can give to you. It's energy in motion, always. A thought, an emotion, speech, and then an action that begins to manifest physically as seen and heard and experienced in your world. That is all that it is, and that is all that it ever was. So I'll go back to what I said to you in 2016, I believe it was. Karma is outdated in your belief of what it is. That application is not relevant. So it isn't a matter of children or babies coming in with a clean slate. It's obvious that in some respects they do. They have to, in order to forget. In order to have a memorable experience and a creative experience, you have to forget. You have to be somewhat clean in your memory. That's one type of karma, that you will always come in with a clean slate. That has always been and will always be and hasn't changed. However, in order to experience a full, rewarding, creative life, you will draw upon something that is unseen, unknown, a component of what I used to call the subconscious, which will alert you and give you little notions of perhaps some mastery within yourself. And this has always been there. Some are calling it collective karma. Some are calling it memories from past lives. But when the moment you define it, you confine it. It's beyond anything that we can speak of today. We cannot define it without confining it and saying, oh, this is the way.
I loved how you, Dolores, explained karma once in one of your talks, where when you're planning this life and before you incarnate, it's as if I would talk, let's say I'll be talking to you, for example, and I'd say, you know what, I'll be the baddie and I'll come in and I'll be giving you all these life experiences. So it's not like I am creating karma, but I'm only here helping and assisting you in your growth, and you helping and assisting me within mine, having different experiences and what we perceive to be bad. Yeah. So a lot of your work was about reincarnation. So a part of your work was about reincarnation, and I'm asking on behalf of everyone, would you say that there is a reincarnation cycle? And what do you believe in now about reincarnation, now that you're on the other side?
I'd say what I observed is that reincarnation cycles come in about every 75 to 150,000 years, at least in the past. And that is what I formerly observed. Now I'd say that it's speeding up quite significantly. And I would also say that the rate at which a soul may choose a reincarnation cycle is unique, is very individual, and there is not one answer that applies to all. And there's often a choice for people not to reincarnate. There is the choice.
Yeah.
There is always a choice. So for me to say, it's this cycle, it happens in this amount of years, brings us back to the times where there would be a creation of a planet, and then either an explosion or a flood or some cycle of, okay, it has met its course, it's done. And then many people would come in all over again. We don't do that anymore. We haven't done that in a very long time. So the reincarnation cycle is not the same for everyone, because there are some that just don't. There are some that are done. There are some that need rest.
So I have a question from the chat. How would you explain the effectiveness and potential limitations of effectiveness of quantum hypnosis to an open but new mind to holistic health?
You're
going to ask that again?
She wants you to simplify it. She says too many words, she said.
I think maybe you've covered that, because it's asking about the effectiveness of potential limitations we place upon ourselves with regards to health, holistic health.
Holistic health?
Holistic health.
Too many words. We need to get more simple, she says. She's asking the person to make the question very clear, because there's a lot of implications in the question that doesn't make sense to her theories.
What is your view on negative attachments? There are a lot of people who believe in them, and there's a lot of people who don't. So what's your view on negative attachments, and can they affect us, or is it just our perception that they're negative?
Going back to Earth's primary concept, you come to Earth and you're told that there is a law called duality, and that you get a choice to believe that something is dark, light, good, bad, right, wrong, soft, loud, mean, happy, sad, joyful, so on and so on and so on and so on. So you're beginning a belief system from infanthood that is the dominant belief system, and your job is to break free from it. This is your primary collective purpose, is to stop doing that. Now ask me your question. Does it make sense, you see?
Yeah. Okay.
Anything that you can ask me today, I'm going to ask you to think differently upon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ask you to formulate a belief system that includes other beliefs and gives you the right to hold a creative difference if you choose, without claiming that another's belief is helpful, harmful, right, wrong, good, bad, dark, light. Entities are a creation of the mind. And if enough people believe that they're bad, you will have a collectively and individually terrifying experience. Mm-hmm. So I can't tell you that they exist or they don't, because scientifically speaking, you don't. In my world of science, you don't exist. You're simply pretending to, dreaming it, this, if you will. Is it a relevant, powerful, beautiful dream? Yes. If you, in the powerful expression that you own, choose to believe that something can attack you, feeling safe or attacked is one of the primary dualistic belief systems that support your creative expression. I can't say that they exist or don't, just like I can't say that you exist or don't. In the in-between realm, outside of time, no, entities absolutely do not exist. But I'm not here to invalidate your creative experience when you're playing that they do, you see.
That's right.
I'm not here. It is not my role to tell you that what you're feeling is not very real and very potentially painful and even devastating to your physical and mental expression, you see. But could I encourage you to look at it differently? Yes. You're a powerful creation. Your thoughts, your beliefs, your fears are so powerful that you've created a belief of attack. Why is the deeper question? Not if it's true, but why have you done that?
Our beliefs.
Yes, only you know
Beliefs of unworthiness.
what vibration is under that. It could be that you like playing the victim. You like people rescuing you. You feel powerless. And you create an expression of something attacking you so that you can continue feeling powerless. Consciously, would anyone want to experience that? No. But the victim and the rescuer, those roles are still really powerful in your human expression at this time. So, do you need to be rescued? Perhaps that's why you create an entity. You need someone to continually work with you, nourish you, heal you, fix it. Is that going to get you away from the fact that you're here in a body and you chose it, and that you have to admit that you chose it and that you're here for a reason? There are many reasons why people create that experience.
For those who know the tarot, I'm being shown like the hangman upside down, like just completely change everything, your perspectives, look at everything differently, question everything, exactly what you said. And I think it opens up a whole new world when you can do that. Yeah. Okay, so we're definitely almost coming to time, so we have a couple more questions. What should light workers focus on now in this period of great transition?
Stop calling yourself light workers. Does it make you feel good? What about people who want to work in the dark? What about people who want to work in something that's not dark or light? What about sound workers? Stop calling yourselves things, please. It's such a limitation. I mean, by all means, who am I to provide any advice to you? If it makes you feel better and special, by all means, go ahead. What if we just took all the special away? What then? What then if we just could see each other all, not as light, not as dark, not as healers, not as quantum experts, but simply human beings expressing creatively, together. So my message for humans is simply, particularly if you call yourself a light worker, be the expression that you want to see in this world. Please stop complaining that you're done not having an expression, or not being told to have an expression, or not knowing what your purpose is, not knowing what your contracts are. Do you need that to be light? Does light shine through your window and say, I need to be told to shine in this direction, this way? I feel so sad when I don't know that. Consider the birds. Do they wake up in the morning and say, gotta kick these babies out of the nest. They're really taking too many worms. Gotta go into the office now. No, they wake up and sing. They sing, they fly, they feed, they rest, they sing, they fly, they feed, they rest. If you want to know how to be light workers, be the expression that you want to see in the world, and nature will show you what that looks like, as it always has.
What are you doing on the spirit side at the moment? Like, what type of work? I don't want to say light work. What type of work do you do on the other side? Do you still work with Nostradamus and amazing influences that was here on the earth plane?
Those were influences at the time.
Mm-hmm.
My most amazing influences right now are all of you. Do you see what I'm attempting to portray to you today in that statement? When we come to Earth and we feel little, we feel small, we feel unseen, we feel unexpressed, we don't know what these contracts may look like or why.
Mm.
Then we look upward and outward to beings, angels, spirit guides, great philosophers.
Yeah.
And now you look to me in that way. But the truth is, all of these beings that you are lifting up into that pedestal are looking at you as the masters. We are following you. We are learning from you. Not as our source of entertainment. This isn't reality TV. You are the masters, and we are cheering you on, observing, learning, taking notes. We're the students in the classroom, and you are the professors, you see. My work is with you.
I'm smiling because my birdie is singing in the background too, so I don't know if you can hear her. So what message do you have for us and humanity going into the rest of this year? What should we focus on?
I would like for you to allow the focus to be shown to you moment by moment. I would like for you to learn to listen, to be present with yourselves and others, to be present without the background chatter of the news, the politicians, the doctors, the beliefs about the same, the thought of what to do when that decision hasn't even presented itself as a reality. You're all wondering and worrying and causing yourselves to be quite chaotic over ideas, mandates, fears that haven't occurred. What is so incredibly powerful right now and palpable is that you are at a precipice of freedom or complete fear and control. And you feel that the only way that you can have freedom is at the expense of everything else. That you can have freedom if you are controlled, or that you can potentially have complete freedom if you abandon all other ways of health or politics or religion as well and completely go your own way. But there are so many choices in between that have not revealed themselves to you, and yet you are worrying about what will or won't happen with the vaccine, what will or won't happen in politics, what will or won't happen from whatever you believe in your religion or spirituality. They're not far from each other these days. You just left one confining system and put it into another. So can we drop the systems and simply be? Simply be. That's it.
One last question. A lot of the questions that have been coming in has been very similar, and it evolves around how do we listen more to our higher selves?
Drop the word higher. Higher, lower, better, worse. You see, break the confining duality trap. Your subconscious, id, ego, whatever it is, all these words are just further separations. It is impossible to be separated. You're only dreaming that you are. So when you simply speak to yourself, something will come up that's relevant.
So would you say following our intuition and following our joy would be listening to our higher selves?
Intuition is a tool, and it involves many expressions. Many emotional expressions can guide or completely sway it. Fear can be very useful. But you're not running from bears. Is there a bear in front of you? Are you standing in a road and a truck is coming in your direction? If not, drop the fear. Is someone pointing a gun to your head and saying, take this vaccine? If not, drop the fear. It's not relevant, so why utilize fear before the necessity of its need? You see, it's premature and absolutely devastating for where you're going. But there are many things you're calling intuition. Intuition is a vehicle. You can't speak or listen without it. But it's a vehicle that's just as important as anything else. Not more so than anything else. However, intuition works with logic, not against it.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. I'm sure all our listeners enjoyed having your presence here today so much. And happy birthday, Dolores. Happy birthday. We will all be thinking of you today, and you're always with us. So many work with you, and just thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
We feel you.
And thank you, Chrysilla, for
and thank you, Pamela.
Right, bye guys.
Thank you for all your wonderful questions. Bye.